All right, class. So back for part 2 of confidence intervals. In this particular situation, we're going to talk about calculating a confidence interval when the standard deviation is unknown. So in a real world situation, you'll be given a set of data. And when you're given a set of data, you're going to have to use Excel to calculate the mean and the standard deviation, right? So our first step is to use Excel to calculate. So that's for a sample, right? We calculate X bar and S, right? And we would use these functions respectively. So that's the biggest change, right? So in our last video, we talked about the standard error of the mean, right? And we know that the standard error of the mean is right. But in this particular situation, the sigma is unknown. So we're going to denote it this way. Let's change this up. So for sigma unknown, we would call this little hat means it's estimated, right? And so that means we would use S divided by the square root of n because we know our sample size. We would calculate the problem the exact same way as before, right? And so we know that our upper confidence level, right? This is our lower. And we would use these formulas. So upper confidence level or limit would be equal to X bar plus, because we're using T versus Z because T student distribution because the sigma is unknown. And then we would do this. And then our lower confidence level would be X bar minus okay. And so I hope this is very helpful. And I want to talk about just a couple of little tips and tricks that will help you with both of these concepts. So this is confidence intervals, like I said, with standard deviation unknown. So you use the same premise that you used before the previous example, except for you are now manually calculating your for your mean and your standard deviation, but then you're using T instead of Z, right? And then I'm going to do one more little thing here. So let's switch this back. So I'm just going to talk about, no. So here we are. Just some tips and tricks. So I'm going to call this CI for confidence interval. Tips and tricks. Those are always much appreciated. So we have this whole margin of error. Right, and so when we have our confidence interval, right, and this plus or minus, this is our mean, and here, right, this is our confidence interval. We have this margin of error. So when we say plus or minus, right, our margin of error, if sigma is known. I'm going to do it two ways. And then sigma is unknown. Right? And so our margin of error in this situation, it would be z. Right? And that is the z times r. Right? And then our margin of error, if sigma is unknown, would be our t. Hope that's helpful. I also hope you guys cannot hear the people in my house watching The Crown on volume of 10 downstairs in my house. All right, and so other things that will help you with being able to calculate margin of error is that in Excel, I'm going to change my pen. So if I said with Excel, which I do is right here, when sigma is known, you will write dot norm, right? And then in parentheses, you have your level of significance, your sigma, and your n, and that will give you your margin of error, right? And if you are calculating the same thing, alternatively, if you want to do this with sigma unknown, you will have confidence dot t. Sorry, this is hard with this Apple Pencil. And then that will be in parentheses S and then N, right? And that will give you your margin of error, right? And then if you want to calculate t-score, and that would be equal to t dot inv two-tail, because this is two-tail, and then degrees of freedom. That's an F. Again, still trying to work with Apple Pencil. So I hope these are some tips and tricks that will help. And if you have any questions, please let me know.